For years, tens of millions of Americans have tuned in on Monday nights to get their fix of America's Got Talent. Now, while I did not watch it personally, I wasn't a faithful follower, if you will, but I watched it here and there. And obviously we know the concept of the show. People who think they have talent apply for a spot, and if they're selected, they perform. Sometimes the audience is enthusiastic. Sometimes they get their X's. It was so successful that there's a sister version, Britain's Got Talent. And it was in April of 2009, someone who can best be described as the church lady showed up. Unassuming, very simple person. She spoke a few words in her thick Scottish accent. People were already predicting that she would get her X's rather quickly. But then, to the delight of everyone, Susan Boyle began singing I Dreamed a Dream from Les Miserables. You could see the emotions, you could see the satisfaction on the faces of those in the audience. They were amazed. Wow! We didn't think she had anything to offer. We know the end. She went on to sell her album, which profited her. It was the best-selling album. Yeah, they still use that word. The best-selling album in record time, in 1 week, 6.1 million pounds generated. It's about $9 million, folks, in 1 week. Jesus, this is a continuation of last week's section of Luke's gospel. Jesus is at home. Everyone knows him. He goes into the synagogue, and to the surprise of everyone in the synagogue, he delights them. Isn't this Joseph's son? It's kind of a put down, really. We know this guy. Where did he get all this? See, sometimes without even knowing it, we look at someone and we know their educational background. We know their socioeconomic situation. We know things that they've done in their past that would make you question if you'd really want to even have an open pocketbook in front of them. But we don't realize that each of us, not just a handful, each of us possesses greatness in us. Yet we sometimes forget that. And because of our own insecurity, throw it on someone else. I know that person can't do that. That person will never be able to accomplish that. It's exactly what they did to Jesus. This is just the carpenter's son. He's a nobody. Who does he think he is coming into our synagogue? Yet, like Susan Boyle, Jesus surprises the crowds. Today, we're called to surprise the crowds. We're called to be a people who recognize in our neighbors, oh, by the way, those are the people we're supposed to love, Jesus says, what we think is great about them. Governor Charlie Baker was the first Republican sitting governor to have accepted an imam's invitation to join them for prayer in a mosque. I believe it was in Roxbury. And Governor Baker had a 6-minute speech. It was really well done. And he simply said, as governor, this being my second term, I get to go to all different types of worship services. He himself is Protestant, and he's been to any number of Protestant services. I know that personally I have seen him at several funerals in Catholic churches. He's gone to synagogues. Now he said, I've come to a mosque. And of course I'm paraphrasing, but he said, it's really not all that different. Sure, the names of the places and the names of the people, they're different, but the message is always the same. Finding something good in another, accepting another because of who they are, loving that person because like you, they are made in the image and likeness of God. Each of us, my friends, has the potential for greatness. All you got to do is make it happen.